This video was suggested by Scoobs in a comment on the previous video. Scoobs, if you're watching, I hope this video helped, and I hope everyone enjoys the video. Gathering resources, the task that every State of Decay player needs to do and hates doing. Gathering resources can be fun, but after a while I'm sure a lot of us have got bored, annoyed, and said that the game is just fetch quest after fetch quest. And I'm sure most of you watching right now are wondering if there's any way to loot more efficiently, gather more resources, and spend more time on the more interesting aspects of the game, like fighting and progressing the main quests. So hopefully today I can make gathering resources a little bit better for you. What we'll cover today is the best methods to gather all 5 main resources: food, meds, ammo, materials, and fuel. That's quite a lot to cover, so let's just get straight into it and talk about the best methods to gather food. The absolute best method to gathering food I've found when playing this game is food outposts. Every other outpost in the game produces their respective resource equally. For example, a level 1 ammo outpost produces 1 ammo per day, level 2 can produce 2 per day, and level 3 produces 3. You get the idea. This is the same with meds, fuel, materials, everything, except for food. Food production is double, meaning that a fully upgraded food outpost can produce 6 food per day. I'm not sure what size of community you have, but let's say you have a community of 8. That's a pretty standard number. On Lethal Zone, the hardest difficulty there is, you would only need 3 of these things to feed your whole community, and you'd still be making 2 food per day. Now in my opinion, food is probably the easiest resource to get. You can buy it very easily, find it very easily, and you can even grow it from your home base slots. But I'd suggest holding on to your home base slots for now, if you're wanting to know the best method to gather meds. The best method to gathering meds by far, no debate, has to be growing it from your home base. Most players have an infirmary costing up to 2 meds per day, so a lot of you will probably have this meds problem and needing it fixed. But don't worry, 1 garden, farm or hydroponics is enough to solve all your problems. You can even make 2, maybe even 3, maybe even 8. With 1 farm or hydroponics we can make up to 9 meds per day, and for taking up only 1 building space in your base, this is the best method by far. There is other methods you could use. The curveball influx of meds is very nice, but if you need something reliable, consistent and effective, this is the method for you. Now if you guys are wanting the best ways to make influence in parts, I'd suggest watching this video here, where we talk about the 3 best ways to make influence. One of the methods can even make around 9,000 influence in just 10 minutes. It's good stuff. And in method 1 I talk about a way to literally make parts out of thin air, the most broken farm yet, so consider checking that video out. Anyway, moving on to ammo. Now, I've got to admit, this is probably the hardest resource to gather efficiently. There's not some crazy effective method like the previous 2 resources. There is 2 methods to gathering ammo though, that I think are the best. One of them is by building a trade depot. You can call on any resource trader you want and they will always have 3 rucksacks of the respective resource. On Lethal Zone, 3 bags of ammo is 18 ammo resource, which is not bad at all. The only other option I would consider being useful to you is to set up maybe 1 or 2 ammo outposts to give you a little bit of consistent ammo per day. The curveball bullet benefactor is really helpful too, if you're lucky enough to get it. And now we're on to materials. This one's quite easy. Looting is probably the best method to gathering materials. But where do you loot? That is the question. The best building type to gather materials from has to be these ones here, these half-finished houses. The reason why is because each one will always be lootable and have a guaranteed 2 materials per building. These structures can be found on every map and they will always spawn in 2s, meaning you have a guaranteed 4 materials rucksacks in these locations, even on Lethal Zone. Now there's another building in the game with 6 resource rucksacks and 4 of them are materials. Some of you will probably know it. It's this one here, the abandoned storefront. Now it probably exists on every map, but I only know its location on Meager Valley. If anybody knows if it exists in different maps, please do let me know in the comments below. But this is a great spot for materials, even on Lethal. Now there's actually a third method I want to talk about, and there's 2 ways of going about it. We either need the staging area or the special outpost in Cascade Hills, Leeds concrete silos. What the silo does is basically remove all your materials cost per day at the expense of a small daily cost of either parts, labour or influence. You choose what to spend on it. The staging area does the exact same thing but for no cost, but you do need to build it on a large slot at your home base. Let's say you're losing 6 materials per day. It's a bit extreme, but this can happen. Both buildings will give you whatever you're losing, so in this case you'd be making 6 materials per day. The more you spend, the better it is, really. Now, the staging area and the concrete silos cannot stack together, which is a shame, because if they could, that would be pretty broken. I think one is good enough though. And that brings us to fuel. This one's really simple, not like the last resource. The best method by far to gathering fuel is by using the trade depot, same as the ammo resource. It's not the most exciting, intricate method, but it does give results. And fuel isn't that hard to find, let's be honest. The amount of gas stations, fire stations and fuel pumps scattered throughout the maps is high. You could also loot the building in Meager Valley that has 4 materials rucksacks because it also has 2 fuel rucksacks too. But that's all I've really got for this resource. So there we have it, the best ways to gather all 5 main resources, right now anyway. No doubt someone will find faster, more effective methods in the future, but right now this is the best we've got. Let me know in the comments your favourite way to gather resources, and if you think you'd give any of these methods a try.